When you're designing a website, of course you want to write the HTML in such a way that CSS selectors provide you with the most flexible possibility for styling your site. You want to be able to target individual elements within the page to be able to get it to look the way you want. Now obviously theme templates are the place to do this when designing for WordPress. So for example, in this page template, I put in a div container, I put in a div with the content. I'm styling for the page in general. But by their nature, templates are general. How do we target individual items? Well, one way we can do it in WordPress is to make more and more specific templates. So for instance, over here we've got loop.php. Well, I could create loops for specific types of content, and we've talked about this where you can get to loop-author so that there's a specific loop when showing author posts, for example. That's one way to do it, and that certainly helps because in these loops, for example, or other kinds of templates, we can put in whatever classes and IDs that we want to target specific material. But even that starts to get a bit tricky when you've got individual author items, for example. How do you target a specific author post? That's very, very difficult to do. You can do it to some extent by doing this. You could say, I'm going to create a template tag in here that creates the ID. So this post, I now know it's that specific post. Every time I go through the loop, it adds the specific ID to this. So then I can target the specific post. But you could see how this would get unwieldy after a while to keep adding these over and over and over again, and you've got to remember to do it in your theme. Fortunately, WordPress has some template tags that will do a lot of this heavy lifting for you. And this is one of them, post class. There are actually three of them: body class, post class, and then comment class. And all you have to do is insert these. Let's take a look at the body class one. You simply insert these, in this case up at the body tag in the HTML. You just insert this template tag. And here's what it does for you. Here's the source. Now I've spread this out a little bit because it's a little easier to read, so I've added spaces in here. But this is the result of an actual page. In fact, my author archive page. So it starts very generally, moves to more specific and more specific kinds of classes. Similar sort of thing happens in our loop where we want to target, we saw the post class. We just do that, and here's an example of a post. Now remember, this ID we created ourselves in the template. WordPress doesn't create IDs, just classes for you. But notice that it's created the class post51. So even if I never did this even if I never did the ID in my theme, I would still have a specific class that I could target this individual post with. Obviously it's a post. The type is a post. This is handy when you've got custom post types. Remember, custom post types are custom content types. So maybe my type here might be book, for example. So I could target all entries of the type book a certain way. Status is published. Format, remember there are post formats you can work with. There are 9 different ones that WordPress creates. And if you implement them in your theme, your users can choose that when they create a post. So in this case it's just using the standard format, but it could be a side or gallery or anything like that. The entry, then it's a category in SEO, so any categories I've got would be here as separate individual classes. Notice with tags, there's a good example. I've got 3 tags on this. Each one has its own class. So for example, if I had a bunch of posts tagged with Google, I could put a specific styling in there, throw in an image, or create a special line around the post. Whatever I want to do, I can target it individually this way. So those are 3. I haven't looked at comments here, but they operate exactly the same way. There are some others that you get that WordPress will generate automatically. For example, in the navigation menu system for WordPress, it will actually create these individual menu item classes. So again, I can get very specific. This individual menu item, I could color it a specific way, give it a specific image, whatever I want to do. That's all auto-generated by WordPress. So there's a lot of individualization you can get using CSS and WordPress without you having to do a lot of work, as long as you include in your theme these very specific class generating template tags.